Hello, everybody. Welcome along. This is Ask Away, episode number 6. These have been really, really fun. So I will make the first call to arms right now. Get your questions into the comments. You set the agenda. You decide what we talk about. We get the topics going. We get some discussion going, some reaction, etc. And that is how it works. Let me know if you are with us. If you are live, if you are watching in the stream, let me know if you can hear me. Everything looks and sounds okay. We are off the back of the first championship weekend. We did the review show yesterday, and there is your embryonic league table there with QPR up at the top of it. But a great number of teams, in fact, 10 teams off to 3 points in the first game in the championship. And if I remove that banner down the bottom, you'll see, well, Sheffield Wednesday are on -9, but it has been a very good start for them. Not so much for Forest, Derby and Cardiff, who make up the kind of performance-based bottom 3. They will not expect to be down there. So I have got one eye as well. It is currently Sheffield United 0, Wolves 2. So our dearly departed not going so well this weekend. We're possibly looking at a clean sweep of defeats. Only Aston Villa surviving and they didn't play. So we can have one eye on that. So I don't want to make this to turn into a watch along, but I've got it just out of shot there. So I am going to go across to your comments and we will get things moving on here. Hi, Alistair. There we go. George, I'm doing great. I'll try and do all of these. Upper Swans, says Carl. Archie says, hope I'm well. There we go. Nice juicy one to get in on straight. Do you think Rhian Brewster will return on loan to Swansea? Well, I'm sure Carl, as a Swansea fan, will hope that he does. Look, we've heard all sorts of conflicting stuff about Rhian Brewster. We've heard there's going to be another year on loan in the Championship. We've heard Swansea would be at the head of the queue. And then we've also heard big, strong links with Sheffield United and that Liverpool would sell for a big fee to a Premier League club. So I don't know. I really don't know. Personally, I don't think it would do Rhian Brewster. Someone can probably confirm his age for me. I don't think it would do Rhian Brewster any harm whatsoever to spend another season or even half a season. Look, if he does half a season and he's just way too good for the league and it's pointless and he needs to go up higher, then they can recall him. But I just feel that I don't know how ready he is to be a starter in the Premier League. So I don't see what harm it would do for him to come back down and have another go on loan down in the Championship. Remember, we saw with the Tammy Abraham example where he kind of went up to Swansea too soon in the Premier League, having done really well for Bristol City. And then the next season, Aston Villa on loan, fine. And then it all pushed on from there. So sometimes higher is not always better. However, if I am Liverpool and there's a Premier League club prepared to gamble, I don't know, 10, 12 million or whatever it is they're going to be asking, then you can't blame them for taking it if they think he's a way off their front three. Now, I know their front three is extremely good. you just think anyone would want a young, talented player around like Rhian Brewster. But remember, this is Liverpool, Premier League champions and former European champions the previous season. Animation says, can Jordan Rhodes have a good season? Well, of course he can have a good season. Anything is possible, as we've seen in the Championship many, many times. Will he actually be selected there? And are there other reasons why they want him away? Obviously, it's much publicised about the huge contract that Chansiri gave him, and that was the big signing to get Sheffield Wednesday promoted, this big hitting, proven Championship goal scorer. And it's not been the best sequence of his career. I mean, I don't necessarily go with the arguments on Jordan Rhodes, oh, he's done, oh, he's finished. I just can't see someone being that good and that prolific in that division for so long and then all of a sudden not being good enough. So I think he can do it, but it may be out of his hands, because if there is performance-based stuff and they can get shot of him, we're hearing about Zohore being linked. Obviously, they brought in Windass permanently and Kachunga as well at Sheffield Wednesday. So I think if you said to Chansiri, here's someone who will pay even 40% of his wages on a loan, I think they'd snatch that deal out of your hand really, really quickly. It's just, you look at the Championship, and I mean, Norwich were prepared to do it in 2018-19. He was basically just a reserve, and Todd Cantwell chaperoned by the end of the season, I think, wasn't he? But I don't know who's going to pay the money. And now it's another season gone, another year of that contract done. I don't know how long left there is on that deal. I'd assume there's still another year going to the end of this season. But look, he could have a good season. I think there are a lot of things that would stop him having a good season that are out of his hands in respect of him not playing. So we will see. Hi to Noel in there. Hello, Ben. How could you abandon Ipswich Town by having a Norwich fan as a sponsor? Well, if you think that having someone support a team and them sponsoring your channel is abandoning your club, then I would question your morals there, Matthew. Obviously, I'm very, very humbled for anyone to sponsor the channel here, which you can do so. You can be a fan sponsor or a business sponsor. And I'm here to judge the football and the analysis, and I judge on ideology, not status. So I don't care how many years you've had a season ticket. I don't care who you support. I don't care how many miles round trip you do. I don't care if you used to be a qualified referee. I don't care if you've worked in the game. If you present me a good ideology that I agree with, I will listen. If you present me a bad ideology that I don't agree with, I'll disagree. And that's as simple as that. So I think it's really, really important that we don't judge. I think Matthew's only joking, but more wider point, we don't judge people by status. We judge them on the ideologies and, as a great man once said, by the content of their character. High animation. How many goals do I think Zhao will score this season? Well, Zhao is off to an absolute flyer and already has 4. So I think he's nailed on for 5 at least. It's difficult. Obviously, if he continues in this vein of form, he's not even going to last till the end of the season, because he'll have 25 by Christmas and someone will sign him from the Premier League. That's just what will happen. We spoke about Zhao on the review show, didn't we? That he's flattered to deceive before, and that it may not last. But hey, now may be the time. Maybe Paunovic as the manager and Lucas Zhao is, as David Brent would do, the combination. But if you're asking me for a number, I've been let down by him before, so I would still only come in at 10 to 15. And hey, look, if we see the form go, if we see the form keep going, and 10 games into the season, he's got 8 or 9 goals, then we'll start to think about a 20 or a 30 goal season for Lucas Zhao. However, we've been let down too many times before, I think. Owen says, hi, Ben, I'm #Sabri out. Really? Goodness me, 1 defeat. And there we go. Sabri out. Let me know what you think about that. Ryan, how do you think your team got on yesterday? Well, I was at work yesterday. I've managed to watch highlights and I managed to watch about 15 minutes of the second half on my break. from what I can ascertain, it was a typical Ipswich in League One winning performance under Paul Lambert, i.e. Conceded some chances, but had enough in the squad to win the game. We have seen a little bit more pattern of play from Ipswich and Paul Lambert, a little bit more consistency of squad selection. So my fingers are firmly crossed. Hi to Ben, Cod's Vlogs, superb YouTuber, Ben. And he will be on the Football Vloggers channel. Actually, I need to figure out whether I can get on there or not. Glenn says, come on, you hatters. Paul Lambert, what did I make of the Ipswich performance over the weekend? I think I have answered that. What was my thoughts on the Blues' performance against the Bees Saturday? Well, they won. They took 3 points. They got a clean sheet. Some new players played, and Sanchez maybe starred. Clayton, I think, played quite well, didn't he, as well? But they did concede a lot of chances, some good, some not so good. However, they were playing a Brentford side who are going to be better than a lot of the teams that Birmingham play this season. Therefore, if I was thinking as a Birmingham City fan, I would be of the opinion that if they can match that level and improve and become more organised and get better, then they can win home games against a number of sides in the Championship. Away, they might even be better suited. Who knows? But great stuff. Great start. 3 points. Beating Brentford is not easy. And it particularly was impossible for that streak when they won 7-8 on the trot. I can't remember the actual number in the end. I think it was 8 on the trot, wasn't it? And then lost their last 2, didn't they? But so I would be really pleased. Really good signs there. But don't now assume that it's going to be... They could have lost that game quite easily if Brian Mbeumo knocks a couple of the chances in that they picked up. But they didn't. They won it. So I would be pleased if I was a Blue. And there's stuff there to build on that says things are going to be better, maybe a lot better than last season. Raoul getting points for fantasy football. Remember, the fantasy football show, as Wolves streak away on the counter-attack here, will be on Thursday at 1 p.m. Let me know your thoughts, actually. I'm thinking of making a couple of the 1 p.m. shows live, namely Dearly Departed, the review show and the preview, and the fantasy show. So let me know if you'd like to see those go out as live streams, if you would be around at 1 p.m. or 12:30 or 12 o'clock. There we go. Ben says, Mark Duffy is fantastic. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how he's used by Fleetwood in League One. Remember, his legs had gone even in the Championship, but the brain hadn't and the feet hadn't. So looking forward to see how Mark Duffy does for Fleetwood. Dave asks about Frank Sinatra, but then he asks about Frankie Valli. I have obviously played December 69, Oh What a Night, many, many times. But my favourite Frankie Valli in the Four Seasons record would be Just Hold On to What You Got. I don't know what the words are. Hold on. That one. I think that's a great melody, isn't it? 19, I think he is. Now, this is the bit where I asked that about 10 minutes ago. Rhian Brewster. There you go. Thank you, George. Glenn says, you said Barnsley would beat Luton, Ben. Shame on you. It's your local club. Anyway, who cares? We won. Absolutely. That is the exact spirit that my predictions should be taken in. If they're right, you need to congratulate me and say, well done, Ben. That was an excellent prediction. But for the 70 to 80% of them that will be wrong, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's fine. Now, we always put the predictions in as part of the preview show. Everyone asks for them, but it's all a bit of fun. I tell you what, the more interesting one is the 1 to 24s. I've now screenshotted all of the entries. I think we had about 75 or 80 different entries. So lots of people put their money where their mouth is. Captain Nat, Operation 0 points, well underway. Can we see it down the bottom there? -9. I said, Nat, if Wednesday can get to 0 points, if they can do a point per game, ideally they need it in 10 games rather than 12 games. But if they can get to game number 12 and be on 0 points, I think that would do. If they can do it in under 10 games, 12 points in 9 games or 12 points in 10 games, that would be sensational. If they could do 4 games, I'd be even happy with that. Hi, Ben and everyone. Now John Walk's asking political questions. Now, we try and have a hard and fast rule here about avoiding politics, but is Joe Biden a better Democrat candidate than Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders to defeat Trump this year? I will not answer that question, but I will say, isn't the plan that it's going to be this Kamala Harris lady, and that if Biden wins, he'll literally just step aside and then she'll be the president by default? There we go. Where is the wine? I'm going to try and be good, Matthew. I've got a coffee here, which makes me very hyper. And it's a big coffee. And makes me talk nice and fast and keep up with all the questions. I must be good and not drink wine every night, because it's a bit naughty, isn't it? And I got, literally, it was my birthday, August 23rd, and I bought so much wine. I got a box of wine and 3 separate bottles, and we already had Prosecco as well from beforehand. So I'm trying to be good. And at the weekend, we had sushi, which was lovely. Actually went out for dinner in this COVID-ridden world. And then I had loads of ice cream as well. So I'm feeling quite guilty about the amount of calories I consumed at the weekend. There we go. When was the last time you went to a Blockbuster video? Christ. Probably not this century, literally. I believe Sheffield Wednesday will finish mid-table. They could do it. They really could do it if they can get on a run. Trump will smash Biden in November. You mark my words. Let's not get into the politics here. Do you think Brentford will bring anyone in? We haven't really been linked with anyone apart from Saman Goddess. Yes, I think Brentford will not only bring anyone in, I think they'll bring in at least 2 players. I think they'll bring in 3, won't they? They've got the Watkins money. They've been financially very, very prudent previously. Someone pointed out very accurately, when I bang on about parachute payments, that Brentford pretty much raise a parachute payment in transfer revenue every season. I know they make losses from having a small ground, but their recruitment and the amount of money they bring in from that side of it is outstanding. I cannot believe that you would take Ben Rama and Watkins out of that team and not, I say 3 players. Surely you take those 2 out, you could bring in 4 to, a couple of first teamers and a couple of squad players to beef everything up. So yes, do not panic, Chris. I think this will happen. Who do I think will be top goal scorer in the Championship? Lucas Shaw. There we go. So Lucas Shaw and James Collins are bossing it. I know they both got hat-tricks in the Carabao Cup. I still think if Pookie gets his mojo back, there's something there as well. Tricky. I know the Forest fan that said Sabri out and Forest haven't started well, but give Lewis grabbing 30 or 40 games in the Championship, and there's 18 goals straight away, isn't it? So I'm naming the same names, but good luck to Lucas Shaw and James Collins, because they weren't massively in the conversation, were they? Any news about Johnson from Preston to Rangers? Preston sent out a really weird statement today, talking about. I wonder if I can get it up for you, and we can read it, because it was frankly bizarre. I think we can get it up. I think this is pertaining to Daniel Johnson being linked away, but I mean, this is crazy. Look, I've got it up on the other screen now. Let me read it out to you. Ordinarily, we don't comment on transfer speculation. It's one of those ones where someone says, "I'm thinking about suing you," and it's like, no, you either sue me or you don't. But so ordinarily we don't comment on transfer speculation, but we're going to. However, the last few days have been frustrating, as it would appear that a number of clubs are attempting to do their bidding through the press and social media. Some of the so-called informed comments have claimed that transfer fees have been arranged with us and at least one other club for named players. At the time of writing this statement, no bids of our players have been agreed. Any approaches that have been made have been underwhelming in both quantum and payment timescales. We've always accepted that buying and selling players is a normal part of our business, but at the right price. Some of the so-called informed comments on social media are not only unhelpful, but frankly not true. La-di-la-di-la, last statement. If and when there is anything definitive to say for either incomings or sales, we will make a factual statement at a time. what are Preston doing? Commenting. I mean, I don't know what we're talking about in terms of in the know tweets. Are we talking about journalists or just Joe Blogs, who started off his EFL transfer Twitter page? I don't get why Preston are commenting on that at all. That I don't like the word tin pot, but that is that. Come on. If you don't comment on it, there's a reason you don't comment on it, because it is nonsense, and I don't really know who benefits from that. So, no, obviously Johnson wasn't around for the game at the weekend. We always have those issues, don't we, at the start of the season when it's, this player's not in the squad, that player's not in the squad. But I know nothing. Peter Risdale's had a big moan, but I don't get it. I don't get why they've done that. But provided an interesting story, didn't it? Coffee up. Who will be the first Championship managerial sacking? I think it will be a basket case one. So it will be someone who probably shouldn't be sacked from a club that regularly sacks managers. So whoever happens to be in the bottom 6 after 12 games when they shouldn't be, with a crazy trigger-happy owner. And I'm talking about Potsos, Watford. I'm not saying Ivic will be down there. I'm just talking about the type of owners that would do it. Huddersfield, possibly. Who else likes to move on owners? Reading, even though they're right at the top. I just think it'll be that type of owner that's a bit kind of Sheffield Wednesday. That's a bit sort of crazy, but I can't see who it's going to be just yet. But we'll know. So, someone has to be bottom of the league after 10 games, and 5 other teams have to be in the bottom 6, and some of them will not have expected to be there. So, how many do I think Dykes will score this season? I think Dykes should get plenty, actually, shouldn't he? If QPR create the amount of chances that they did last season, okay, yes, they don't have Eze, and he plays most or all of the games and takes the penalties, and he'll get a few from set plays because he's a big lump, isn't he? If he stays fit, he should be looking at 10 to 15 as a decent total. I would have thought. Can Brighton pull off an upset this evening? They're playing Chelsea. I wouldn't have thought so. QPR forever offered a deal to Kevin Stoger, a German attacking midfielder. Looks a good player. Well, he will appear, no doubt, in the next transfer update video if that goes through. Interested to see. Remember that Eze-shaped hole to replace there. Chansiri is seemingly out of money. Well, he seems to have stopped putting it in, doesn't he? Glenn says, great start for Luton. Sorry, great. Loads of questions in here. Fantastic stuff. Sorry if I get behind. I just want to give you the respect of giving a detailed answer to questions when we do them. So keep them coming, and please hang around. Great start for Luton. I feel we've found a way now at competing at the level compared to last year. And it was interesting, Martin, when I looked at the Luton team, it was pretty much last year's team, but without Carter, Vickers and Brown, the loan players. They did obviously have Norrington Davis in the new left back on loan. So, look, it does get easier the more consistent, and you stay up for a year and 3 teams come up essentially below you, and there'll be other basket cases, and then just be competent. Just don't do crazy stuff and play awful and fire managers and make terrible signings, and probably going to be all right. So, looking forward to seeing how Luton go as Billy Sharp goes into the box for Sheffield United. 66 up in this one on the telly box over to my right here. Good for Wednesday. Zhao had a 20% sell-on clause. Interesting. Well, so Sheffield Wednesday fans are going to hope he keeps on scoring and someone takes him in the Premier League. Stephen, what do you think of Rotherham on Saturday away at Wycombe? I thought it had draw written all over it until scoring in the 92nd minute. Be a test for the Millers on Saturday versus Millwall. Great start for Rotherham. Some people were already pegging this as like a 6-pointer between Rotherham and Wigan. Most people, in conceived wisdom, if there's no massive basket case, someone coming out of the crowd and having the season from hell and doing loads of stupid stuff like I keep talking about, you would expect Wycombe and Rotherham on size and on turnover to be around that bottom 6. So it does seem harsh for it to be a 6-pointer straight away, but you'll take the win. You'll take it in the 92nd minute. as well. Interesting to see if they can just edge up that place higher than they were in 2018-19. I thought it was going to be a big help for Rotherham and Wycombe that Sheffield Wednesday were on -12, but Sheffield Wednesday have started well and they will eat that up and they will chase, won't they? So, it's going to be an interesting one for Rotherham. They're nice and stable. They won't do anything crazy. But you are still hoping for a basket case to fall out of the third quartile and finish below you, basically. So, Jamie, did I manage to watch the Liverpool-Leeds game? What a game. I did not watch the whole game. I did watch a lot of the first half, and then we went out for dinner. I've watched the highlights. I've watched all the goals. I've prepped for Dearly Departed tomorrow, which will be at 1, where I will discuss it properly. I don't know what happened to Leeds finishing, though, because the criticism all last season was that they needed to create 4 chances to score 1 goal, and then they scored 2 worldies in their first Premier League game from massively low percentage chances. So, look, I'll have my say tomorrow on that. Great entertainment start, but I'm sure Bielsa would rather have had some points from that one than none. But we'll talk about it tomorrow. And as I said, I'm thinking about doing that live at 1 p.m. tomorrow. So let me know if you can join. Low-key, Jamie Patterson is the English David Silva. Jamie Patterson has been very good since lockdown and since returning to Bristol City from his loan at Derby. Started the season well as he ended last season. So looking good. Is he the English David Silva? Possibly not. David Silva, a Premier League great with 10 years of sheer winning and ridiculous numbers. But I take your point, Matty, that Jamie Patterson is looking good. And in terms of, you know this saying, it's like having a new signing. This guy's been loaned out at the start of last season, so obviously wasn't required, and he's found his way back. And we spoke about Marcondes doing that at Brentford. People being loaned out, coming back. Matt Penny at Sheffield Wednesday as well. So good luck to him, and long may it continue. Here come Wolves. They are in, and they've hit the post. Oh my God, what a miss! Off the post, and Raul Jimenez should have made it 3-0. Pretty much an open goal there. How many goals do you think Washington and Bonn can get together? What for Charlton in League One? Lots. Those two at League One level, you'd think over 20 for sure. Possibly more if they stay fit. They should be really nice pair in League One. Katie, Ipswich were decent, but anything more than 2-0 would have been harsh on Wigan. Yeah, I agree. It's just good to see Wigan there competing. It wasn't a freak show like Bolton was last season with all the youth players and 5-0 every week. Just hope that Wigan can now stabilise. Obviously, some part of me is pleased that Ipswich won, but we're playing a long game here. We know what happened to Wigan. We know this came up in the chat that we would be tipping Wigan to be in the top 10 in the Championship this season if they'd kept their manager and kept their squad and maybe added. Well, if they'd added 1 or 2, maybe they could have been a sort of playoff chasing team. Proper end to end this Wolves Sheffield United game, still 2-0 in there. But yeah, that's more my big picture stuff on Wigan and Ipswich there. And look, ask any Ipswich fan. We need to see 2 months, 3 months of consistent team selection, pattern of play, and then we'll believe that Paul Lambert's onto something. Ben, legend, mate. Thanks for the nice words. Close to the 5,500. Go and sub to Cod's vlogs there. I think QPR might have found a gem in Dykes. Well, he's made a good start. A summer one swallow does not make, but it's a good start, isn't it? And good luck to him. And nice. We know Warburton knows the Scottish market. He's managed at Glasgow Rangers, hasn't he? So, be a nice, innovative signing from Scotland. And if it did well, I will be impressed. I'm hopeful for a point against Gillingham, Fox, and Massey back soon. Do you know? I thought Massey might be another one who might go out, but there we go. Eliza, do you think is immoral for things like the City Group to exist and for them to keep moving money and players around. Seems like a type of laundering. That's difficult because while it's not against the rules, it's not illegal. I know you've worded that, Eliza, as immoral, but can something be immoral if it's within the rules? I suppose it can be, can't it? Look, the big, huge billionaire zillionaires are always going to find a way to house assets and play the system and, experiment with their money by having different clubs. Perhaps there should be some kind of sanctions over, how many clubs. And I tell you what would be amusing is if the clubs then had to play each other, that they had to forfeit or something like that you couldn't play the game and both sides were given 1 point and a 0-0 draw or something. That would stop that conflict of interest. But whilst it's against the rule, whilst it's not against the rules, it's okay. But we all watch the Pozzos. Watch and see now. Forestieri's been signed by Udinese. Does he now get loaned to Watford? But they didn't pay the transfer fee, so that doesn't come in English FFP. And do Olympiacos sign a player well above market value? I mean, that's the thing. With it being a free market, what is market value? Andy Carroll was 35 million. So it's a tricky one. It's a tricky one. So immoral, possibly. Illegal, no. Where do those two things converge? Good question. That's it. Where do you think that Birmingham will place this season? I think I had them in the third quartile, so clear of relegation, but maybe not in the top half. Let's see how Karanka goes. Let's see what they do striker-wise as well, because there's only Jutkovic in there. They need a bit of help up top, don't they? Not that I think Karanka will play 2 up, but they need, Jutkovic has got Birmingham out of enough scrapes over his time, hasn't he? So, as David McGoldrick has a shot there. Do you think West Ham could go down this season? Yes, I do. There seems to be all the makings in there of the things we talk about in terms of, I always use the term basket case, but what we're talking about is chaos and, captains tweeting mean stuff and players being sold and people not coming in and losing your first game at home. So we have all the makings of it down there. However, as I've said about our wonderful dearly departed all losing, perhaps maybe our dearly departed might keep West Ham up. But we'll see. Hopefully, as many of them will stay up as possible. But they need to get some points. I should get down to #United for a game. I need to read up on what that is. #United. Someone can smarten me up. Great start for Sheffield United. Not so far. And as I said, our dearly departed, we're doing the show tomorrow, possibly live. At 1 p.m. That will go up. But yeah, I think I will do it live. We'll experiment. And it's going to be a clean sweep of defeats, I think. Blades losing to Wolves, Leeds losing to Liverpool, Fulham losing to Arsenal, West Brom losing to Leicester. I hope that's not the state of things to come. Can I see Westwood finding a club? He's essentially a free agent. Yes, absolutely I can. I'm sure Neil Warnock will sign him if they can get the right deal. Someone will definitely take him, probably Championship as well. Evening to Alex. Anthony Pilkington, a good signing for any club right now. I would suggest that he came to Ipswich, but we have a ridiculously bloated and unbalanced squad, so maybe that's not a good idea. Why have you rigged the Fantasy League for you being in the top 10? Well, as you would know, Matthew, you can't rig the Fantasy League. Maybe that's just natural skill on my part there. But look, let's reserve judgment and watch the show on Thursday and see how we're all doing. Millers might struggle to hold on to Ihekwe based on Saturday and last season's thoughts, Ben. I would think that Rotherham in a position, though, where they can ask for a nice transfer fee now and get what they actually want. But yeah, I wouldn't like Rotherham to get pillaged before the window closes. I'd like to see this team that they've built up, that got them up last season, have a crack at the Championship. So, What a night. Late December back in 60. I sound like Alan Partridge, don't I? Would have been Ray Wilkins' birthday today. What a player he was. Yes, go out of your way if you're a youngster here. Then look for his goal in the cup final. Who was that against? Brighton, where he curls it. What a player Ray Wilkins is. Ben, I giggled when I saw that your comment section was off for your league predictions. Now, there was a reason for that. We put 2 videos up. One was the 1 to 24, and the other was advertising the competition. And I turned the comments off on the one advertising the competition. And in the video, I told people to comment on the other video because I didn't want it. We wanted all the comments in one place for the competition. So, as you know, I believe in freedom of speech. I believe everybody's right to say what they've got to say, but I will delete their comments if they are insulting. I don't think there's any need for that. But yeah, we turned the comments off on that video. So, because you'd be amazed, Maxwell. Honestly, you write a competition, you figure it all out. You write in the description what people have to do. You say it in the video about 5 times, and then you still get, oh, where do I comment my thing? Crikey, just listen to what I'm saying. But there we go. I think 2020 has shown us that human beings are not very good at following instructions at the best of times, hasn't it? Dave has given me more song lyrics because I didn't know them. But there we go. I won't sing anymore. I don't blame Bill for cheating on Hillary. I would have done it in his face. That's appalling, Maxwell. The best coffee is the honeycomb latte from Costa. Would you believe we queued up at the drive-through for a honeycomb latte? Literally, they had banners, vinyl banners all over the thing. Got to the front of the queue. Oh, we've got no honeycomb. Why is the Wolves goalkeeper wearing number 11? Is that a common thing that I've missed? There we go. What team do you think will surprise people this season? Says Langley with a Reading shirt there. New Reading away shirt in the... God. Well, I don't know because it'll be a surprise. But teams that could make top 6 that I didn't predict would be Bristol City, possibly. I expected Bournemouth to struggle with the chaos. So I would be surprised if Bournemouth make top 6. But if they're competent, they can do with their squad of players who have played lots of Premier League stuff. Surprises. Coventry, maybe. I think Coventry could finish higher than people expect. And Barnsley, but they've obviously both started with defeats. So I know nothing. Ben, homemade jerk chicken tonight. Lovely stuff. What did I have? I've just eaten it. We had chicken as well. Chicken, mash, carrots. I got some asparagus as well. We added some asparagus to it. That was nice. And there was a little mushroom sauce. Very nice. Crystal Palace are in talks with Said Ben Rama, says Matt. What can you tell me about him? Well, he's absolutely brilliant, Matthew. You know that, don't you? What is interesting, though, is that the fee is talked about as being 20 million. There is no way Said Ben Rama should be worth 10 million quid or 8 million quid less than Ollie Watkins. But there you go. Maybe there's a clause in there or something that they can get him for 20 million. So, but yeah, we're, I suppose from a Brentford fans' point of view, they just want the deal to be done now and replace and spend the money. So, who do I think will be the surprise team in the playoffs this year? I think I just tried to answer a few. Obviously, we like to think here on the Benjamin Bloom Football Channel that we wouldn't be massively surprised by lots of stuff because we speak to you lot and we talk and we think tank it and we analyse it. However, we do get caught out fairly regularly. So those few I just said a minute ago. Can we just do a little quick, if you will indulge me, do a really quick plug, and then we'll get back to your comments. Support the channel, like, comment, subscribe. Join the Fantasy League. I think you can still do that during the season. T5QBR0. All these shows go down a podcast feed, so subscribe to that as well. And you can support the channel either shopfront on Amazon. I can give you the link for that. Subscribe on Patreon, or you can be a business sponsor or a fan sponsor to the channel. Done that one. Did I finish the Spurs documentary? I had lots of other errands and things to do today. If you notice, there hasn't been a video go up on the channel today. We've just done this one. So I have not looked yet. So I will watch it, but I'm now kind of behind the curve as Adama Traore is doing ridiculous bits as he normally does. just past the post there. So I may not make videos on it. We might be behind the curve by tomorrow, and I can see up there I have a list of stuff to work on tomorrow. Preston are bizarre though, Ben. This coming from a Blackpool fan. There you go. Millwall have 2 players on loan at St Johnstone who at present are nowhere near our first team, yet they're playing every week in the Scots Prem. Enough said about that level of football. I think Alex may be referring back to our analysis of Lyndon Dykes there. So, yeah, we've often debated Championship, Scottish Premier League. Where do they bisect? How far up do you have to go? What I will say is Martin Waghorn was good at Rangers and came down and very serviceable Championship player. Shinnie from Aberdeen also down to Derby, and Aberdeen have done all sorts of deals with Max Lowe on loan, and Shinnie, as we mentioned, James Mattheson went up there on loan from Norwich, didn't he? So, yeah, it's not massively off, is it? Have I got to Wagamama since lockdown ended? That should be the prize for Fantasy League. Awkward meal for 2. What with me, dearie me? No, I haven't. But we actually, the sushi place we went to was even nicer, actually. You know, when you chain versus authentic, this was authentic, proper Japanese restaurant. So 1-0 Stoke, says All Leeds TV. I believe that's the under 23s, is it? Oh, yes, I can. Oh, no, I can't block someone. Someone's called me Jesus in the Twitter. I normally block them when they do that. But let me have a swig of my coffee, which is getting very cold now. I'll power on through, though. I know this might seem reactionary, but I feel Rhodes will score around 10 goals this season. I saw fire in his eyes with a strong mentality. Never seen him like that before in a Wednesday shirt. Well, he's perfectly capable. We know that. It's just the Chancery and the contract and all of that stuff that I'm questioning. Eliza, I'd say that it's looking likely that West Ham will be in a relegation scrap this year. How likely do you think they are to come down? Again, it depends on our wonderful dearly departed, doesn't it? If Leeds, Fulham and West Brom can get their stuff together, they can sucker them in. But if some of those guys have a bad season, then there might not be that many places for established Premier League clubs to be falling into. So, Ben, it's the Mad Darlington FC back. Hope you're well. Iain always likes us to plug the old Darlington plight there. Pee Wee Herman, Forest have signed a new goalkeeper. Yes, I saw that. What was his name? I can't quite remember. We'll do a transfer video probably tomorrow anyway. I guess it's back up because Bruce Samber's been really, really good. So, yeah, check out. We'll do a transfer update tomorrow. I think there's probably enough stuff going on that we can do that. Let me just bring up a list really, really quickly. Bear with me. And we should be able to, on the split screen, have a little look at what has been going on. I'm just going to remove your comment, Pee Wee, and you will see Ethan Walker's gone out from Preston on loan. Adeogin has gone in at Sheffield Wednesday, winger. So that's an interesting one I'll talk about tomorrow. In at Forest, Lutwiller in at Fleetwood, and yeah, transfer mark. I haven't got the details yet on the Forest goalkeeper. So no doubt we'll have all the stuff there tomorrow. Iain makes the same point that I think Millmore made earlier. Is that just Iain on Twitter and Iain? I think we did answer that about Ihekwa. Do you think Rangers could actually compete with the top 10 around the playoffs this year if they keep everybody fit, Bailey? If they create as many chances as they do last season, if they replace Eze's productivity in the team, and if a few other teams have seasons where they should be doing better and finish below 10th, then yeah, of course, absolutely, of course. But that's a lot of caveats I just put in there. Calvo, evening Ben, not a bad game v Liverpool for Leeds. Hopefully mid-table for us this season or higher. I will talk about that tomorrow. Do I ever get sick of watching football by having to watch so much of it for a living? Well, as you know, I don't quite do this for a living yet. I would love to. We're building up. Hit subscribe if you're new here. 12,200. We need some more Patreons. We need some more subscribers before I can do it fully for a living. But no, it's an absolute privilege. Do I think Ivan Toney will get many goals for Brentford. You see Brentford improving on last season's effort. I do think Ivan Toney will get goals for Brentford. Hasn't had many chances yet in the 2 games I've seen, and I have seen both of them. I think they're going to sign another striker. I don't see them selling Watkins and Toney being the only player that comes in. That might change it. What is the naughty step exactly? All I know is if I complain about your team of the season, quote a transfer fee my mate said, or call you Jesus, I have a one-way ticket. Henry's absolutely right there. He's picked up on all my pet hates there. The naughty step is basically I get grumpy for about 30 seconds and there's a little button on here which allows me to put you in timeout for 5 minutes. But he's got me down to a T there. He's mugged me off there, to be fair, Henry. Well played. I'll give you a touche on that one. I got no argument back to that one. Bart was top of the clean sheets in the Championship last season, 3rd in saves made. Why doesn't he get the recognition people like Samba get? I guess he's a little bit older. He's been around for longer, so he's got there more gradually. Samba, remember, we didn't know anything about him. He's quite a bit younger, and he did it bang in his first season, whereas obviously Bart went around, Southampton, and I can't remember where else he was before he wound up at Ipswich. So, here it comes, everyone. K-Vans 95. Whoa, it's Jesus in this second coming. Can you imagine having a humour gene to be able to crack gags like that? I mean, I just bask in K-Van's incredibly sophisticated wit and ability to compare my appearance to that of Jesus. And K-Vans, nobody has ever said that before. So you are the man. You really, really are the man. And I'd put you on the naughty step if it wasn't a Twitter comment. There you go. So pleased about Winall. Yeah, let me know how that goes. That on paper is a good signing, but I had a bit of a back and forth with Joe from the Blue Monday team about that, where he was arguing, oh, well, he's been injured for a long while. So Joe could be right. I could be right. We'll see. Leagues are a marathon, not a sprint. Absolutely. Are Charlton taking any legal action against Lyle Taylor, seeing as he was in breach of contract by refusing to play? Was he in breach? I don't. I suspect for him to truly be in breach. So what we're talking about is the contract expiring, and there was 2 games left, wasn't there? And what normally happens is they just come to some kind of agreement that one states their intention to not play and the other kind of just goes along with it. So I suppose unless Lyle Taylor is specifically asked and named in the team and then refuses to go out on the pitch, I suspect it'd be very hard to make refuse to play stick. Do you know what I mean? It's a bit of a tricky one there, but no, I don't think anything will happen. And enough legal chaos and things like that going on at Charlton for that to be happening. Is that a couple of greys in the beard I see? Welcome to the club, mates. We go close up. It's more than a couple. John Walk in there. Actually, I should give it a shave. Yeah, look, big one there. Shocking. There we go. I'm not shaving it off though. I look ridiculous with long hair and no facial hair. So Massey's wages are quite high at Wigan. Wage cap isn't in effect on current contracts. Goes missing in the Championship. Why get less money by leaving to go to? Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I can't argue with that. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. So yeah, that would facilitate Massey staying at Wigan, wouldn't it? Fair comment. Do you think Rice, John Frusciante, isn't he in the Red Hot Chili Peppers? Do you think Rice will leave West Ham before the deadline? Yes, I do. I think there's going to be more chaos at West Ham before October the 5th. Jacob's gone free to Pompey. Oh, I didn't realise that. 5.5 years played at the door. Interesting. Oh, God. How would you go about resolving the problem of so few BAME managers in the professional game? Well, that is an absolute hot potato, but hopefully we don't have any crazy people who like to get very cross when you even discuss the matter. So I will briefly give my view. Please, let's all be grown up when we talk about the possible absence of BAME people as manager. We don't need to be extreme in our responses here. However, quotas as a rule doesn't really work for me. And if I was a BAME guy. I wouldn't want to be given an interview just on my appearance and my BAME status. Sadly, I remember having a discussion with my sister about possible gender prejudice in her legal career. And my argument that, well, you either have to artificially hold back one side or elevate the other, or hope that through more years of good practice and possible discrimination, if and when it exists, stopping, that things will get better. But unfortunately, when there's a problem happening now that people perceive to be a problem, unfortunately, when you suggest, well, let's all not discriminate against anyone, and then in future it will be absolutely fine, that doesn't wash as a solution. So I don't know what I would do in that instance. I would suggest that if people don't make arbitrary discriminations and stop judging people on their appearance, like idiotic comments calling me Jesus, then the world might be a better place, and we can rule out prejudice as a factor. But and that's the other thing as well, is that as I look at Nuno Santo, who's a very high-profile BAME representative manager, it's very, very hard to put together, okay, so they're not there. This is a problem. Why is it? Very hard to draw all the lines together and find all of that. But there we go. Hopefully that was an explanation of the discussion that we're all grown up enough to listen to and not react terribly about, which sometimes happens. Pains me to say, but I can see Leeds finishing top 12. This is top 12 indeed. They would take that, wouldn't they? Do you think they will replace Jeju if he leaves, or stick with Martin? They need 3 strikers there, so they'll replace him. Whether Martin goes into the first team and they bring in a reserve, I think that might be the case. So I think, yes, possibly right. Be interesting to see how Fred Onyedinma does in the champ this season, bearing in mind that we kept him and released Eze before shipping Fred off to Wycombe. Yeah. Well, he's not in the Wycombe first team. I think he's there in a similar capacity than he was at Millwall in 17-18 as a impact, mega fast, pacey substitute. So I suspect that will be how he is utilised. I think, given they've just been promoted from League One, he would be in the team if he was ready to be in the team already. Very excited. Programme release for Saturday's game. Nod to 70s style programmes. Yes, Ipswich have done that as well. Ben's a legend. Thank you. Ben, am I right saying the EFL transfer window closes after EPL and Europe? If so, how do you think? I'm really sorry, Wheelock Gun Team. Someone asked me about this yesterday as well, and I haven't researched it, and I should have. My understanding, in fact, should we just Google it and see if we can get it? When does the transfer window close 2020? See if we can get a sensible answer. Let's see if the ESPN website explanation is enough for us to get to the bottom of this. Clubs are still able to sign players as free agents after the October deadline. Yeah, well, we knew that. Premier League deadline, October the 5th, before the UEFA competition squad deadline, the following deadline day. There will be an initial domestic window that continues 3 to 5 p.m. on October the 16th, when clubs will only be able to trade either loans or permanent registrations with EFL teams, so not internationally or with other teams. That's interesting. That doesn't answer the EFL question that we are going for. Does it have EFL if I keep on scrolling? No. Let me do some more reading up on that so I don't have to do that whilst we are live over here. But yes, I'll do some research on that and give a more sensible answer. Wolves retired the number 1 shirt for Carl Akemi. Yes, I heard. That sounds a good job to me. What's the difference between a number 9 and a number 10? Asking for a friend. Well, I think my understanding of a number 9 is that is a penalty box striker who is there to score goals and get on the end of chances. And a number 10 is a player who plays behind a number 9 and scores goals, but creates chances for said number 9 and other player. Bangers and mash, lovely stuff. Very northern. Back again, JL17, nicely done. Favourite Pink Floyd record? I'm a bit of a numbskull when it comes to Pink Floyd. I'm only familiar with Dark Side of the Moon, so I'll say Dark Side of the Moon. Anthony Robinson was a medical away from 8 million moves 6 months away. 6 months ago. 6 months later, 16 players left for 8 million. Yeah. Shocking. What's the Spurs documentary on? Is on Amazon Prime, but I believe you can get a free trial to watch it. Be really interesting to see the landscape with Amazon. I have a funny feeling they're coming for Sky. It may take a few seasons, but Jason, who I believe is a Patreon. Thank you, everybody on here who is a Patreon. Amazing stuff. Did you receive a tweet I sent you last night regarding the transfer window being extended to let the EFL clubs and Premier League clubs do business until October 12 for weeks? Sorry, I don't. Sometimes they go into the DMs, or sometimes I don't even get notified, and I get so many notifications. So I'm sorry, Jason, I did not see it. But yeah, let me get my head around it. That's what we seem to have just read. So I didn't totally understand what the ESPN website said, and it didn't specifically refer to the EFL. So I love the shirt selection on your Amazon shop. Go and buy a shirt from the let's get a sponsorship with a shirt company. He says, wearing a plain white t-shirt. There was 28 degrees here today. I had to go for it. On a positive note, under 18s won today. James Carragher playing. There we go. He's got a hard act to follow. Hi to Solid Pope there. Who's your favourite Championship striker of the last 10 years? If it's not Steve Morrison, I'll be disappointed. Well, from an Ipswich point of view, would be Daryl Murphy or Martin Waghorn, I guess. But the last 10 years, that takes us to 2010. Tarab, we couldn't class as a striker, could we? I loved him. A big fan of Billy Sharp, just as a old school goal scoring number 9, even though he wears number 10. Championship striker, tricky. I'll have to think about that. Opinion on Mikael Miller. I don't know a lot. I know if that's Big Lad Kev commenting, then we're talking Rotherham, aren't we? And that's a new signing this season. So not familiar with the player. I haven't seen him play either on TV or live. So I'll plead the fifth on that. Lee Gregory is his favourite. Lovely. Do you QPR are going to do well this season or start the same? I think he's rewritten it. There we go. Do you think QPR are going to do well, or do you think we're going to start good, end bad? I don't think you'll start good, end bad. I think what you get at the start is what you'll get for most of the season, which will be, kind of open, creating chances, but against good teams, losing games, but then sometimes taking them and managing to win them, which sounds to me like probably a top half side without injuries. Always get my caveats in, don't I? If Barnsley sign a defensive midfielder and a big target man, then don't sign it, then we were really struggling. Interesting. Defensive midfielder there. I thought they were well stocked in midfield. Moa, Halmay's played in there, but maybe a dedicated one there, because I guess that's a playmaker and a centre half stepping out. I thought Gregors was quality. Yeah, totally agree. Opinion on Leeds. I'm going to do that on Dearly Departed tomorrow. More players to come to Birmingham. JCS, that is Jake Clark-Salter back to Brum. That would be good. They need a striker though, Lee, don't they? They really, really do. Everton had a good win yesterday against Tottenham. Yes, they did, with a Dearly Departed player there, Abdoulaye Doucouré, playing rather well, I think. Who do you think is better on paper, QPR or Reading? I think Reading are better on paper there, player for player, but we know the sum of the parts. Just feel people like Swift, Ejaria, Zhao or Puskas maybe just tip it in the favour there. Murray was our leader, epitomised the club. He was a good player. He was one of these real captain type players. Can I stream the next Rotherham match if and when they're on the Friday night game or the Saturday lunchtime game? Then we will definitely do it. Thoughts on Flynn Downs to Palace situation? Yeah, she's just trying to get as big a fee as they can. It looks like it will happen. Forest to do well this season, mate. As a fan of Forest, I'm very worried. Forest to do well, interesting. So he's not buying it, I don't think. Do you think Eze will be a future star? I think he's already a star. There we go. So what's the point of contract having an end date? I know what you're saying, Alex, in terms of the contract end date. It's it's just player power, though, isn't it? And you know, when people say the contract's not worth the paper it's written on, that kind of does hold water, doesn't it? Because if a player is worth 10 million quid and refuses to play, then yeah, you can stick him in the reserves for 3 years, and you're essentially cutting off your nose to spite your face, because you're going to lose out on the 10 million. And with things like Lyle Taylor, they come to the end of their contract, say they're not going to play the last week. What are you going to do? Yeah, the only thing you can do, again, is cut off your nose to spite your face, I guess, is name him, send him out to play. And you would imagine footballers are so childish, they would do silly things like go out and not try, in which case they've not breached their contract, because there's nothing in the contract that can deem how hard you tried, I guess. So there you go. We're coming up 1 hour. Yeah, Alex says, I know what you're saying, just seems massive. I agree. I'm not saying that that's right, but I think that's the legalese. They've got there's no comeback against football players. They're worth too much money to the clubs. At least people aren't comparing you to a 2011 Christian Bale. And idiotic people don't seem to realise that more than two men had long hair in the last 2,000 years. If Jesus did indeed look like that, or even exist, allegedly. Do you think Chelsea will win the league? No. Does your sister have short hair? Just a funny feeling. No, she's got lovely long hair like me. Who's better, De Bruyne or Paul Scholes? Oh, that's a hard one, isn't it? Well, Paul Scholes' career has not been matched by Kevin De Bruyne yet, but it's hard comparing players in different eras, because Kevin De Bruyne can obviously do more as a modern player and do more things with the ball. But then if Paul Scholes was playing now, he probably would be able to. So very difficult comparison. Fred started on Saturday, did he? Oh, okay, I stand corrected. In regards to BAME managers, a BAME person went to an interview for an office job for talking sake and has the same qualifications, but then they employ a white person due to statutory measures. It's wrong. That's also illegal as well, isn't it? You cannot pay somebody more or discriminate on things like that. However, private companies can employ who they like, so they would likely get away with it. But it's a touchy subject, isn't it? Who's your top six this season? Hey, you can watch my entire 1 to 24 video elsewhere on the channel. I'll read your picks. So Norwich, Watford, Swansea, Bournemouth, Brentford, and Cardiff. Dark Horses, QPR, Blackburn. Like it. What do you think of the away kit for Leeds? Mine's on the way. Very nice too. I'm now disappointed. There you go. I didn't say Steve Morrison. I've nearly caught up. Oh, but your comments keep coming in. Oh, crikey, there's loads of them. Oh, no, I have caught up. That's good. No, I'm scrolling the right way. Where did I get to? Do you think the Championship is a weaker league this year than previous seasons? Robin, it depends what you define as weaker, okay? Do you define weaker as the top 2 or 3 teams not being as good as the top 2 or 3 teams in previous year, i.e., the top teams are weaker? Or do you describe weaker as the general standard across the division? Or do you judge last year as weak because Leeds finished 10 points ahead and the bottom sides were good? Or do you judge last year as strong because the bottom sides were good and it was hard to be a standout team like that? It's difficult, as in what does weak means different things to different people. If you are a Charlton fan last year, you will say the Championship was not weak because you got relegated with a quite high points total and the tide rose. If you were a Cardiff fan last year, you might say the Championship was weak because Cardiff weren't that good for last year and got into 5th place. And Swansea would have been the joint lowest ever scoring playoff winner in 6th place with 70 points if they'd done it. So what I'm saying is, what is weak in one place in the league makes another part of the league strong. Do you see what I'm saying? So I don't necessarily buy that the whole league can be weak. Do you know what I mean? It can't be, because if one end's weak, another end looks strong, even if that's artificially because the other end is weak. It's so hard to tell, isn't it? But yeah. So I mean, let me know what your definition of weak is. Is it the number of points it takes to get promoted? Because that might not be a strong league. That might be because there's whipping boys down at the bottom, which would be a weak league. So very, very hard to define weak. That's with full respect to the question. I don't think I can answer it because I don't know what weak means in the context of an entire 24 teams. You know what I mean? In terms of, are there as many big, gigantic Leeds and Aston Villa-sized clubs? No. But that might not make the league weak. And again, I go to, does weak mean fewer strong teams, or does weak mean the general standard of across? Do you know what I mean? Bournemouth has Middlesbrough next. What kind of football should we be expecting from them? Well, look, Neil Warnock's the manager, Elliott. So you expect a wily guy who's okay with direct and slowing the game down and taking time on restarts and getting the ball in the box. However, they didn't play quite like Cardiff's Warnock under the lights against Watford the other night. Knocked it around quite nicely, but that's the cliched, stereotypical view of what you should expect from Warnock. They were weak off the bench in terms of attacking options. So if you shut them out for 60 or 70 minutes, you're probably going to shut them out for the 90, is what I would say, as it stands, before they possibly get Ken Zahor on loan. So there we go. Henry is watching Stoke Under-23's Gelhardt looks a class apart. Could even break through to the first team in the next couple of seasons. I'd like to see Gelhardt come down for a loan. Now, Leeds are playing one up front. If they put a recall clause in, I think having Rodrigo and Bamford there and a recall clause on Gelhardt would be absolutely fine if he goes out on loan. What do you reckon to Sheffield Wednesday start to the season? Very impressive. Let's see if they can keep it up. Ipswich won, but Downs is going. Yes, indeed. Nick. Hi, Ben. Struber saying a couple of players are close to signing this week. What type of player do you think we need? I think a target man up front. Do you know, another Barnsley fan said exactly the same thing, Eli. So I'm tempted to go with the groupthink from you two Barnsley guys. And if Struber's coming out and saying that, then I would agree. Remember, Woodrow has played number 10 quite a lot and been withdrawn. So, yeah. Could this be the year for Jordan Rhodes? Rewind back to the top of the video. We have discussed that. Gelhardt is class if you fancy loaning him out. Yeah, he'll be going to the Championship. Millwall should sign Kwame Poku and Charlie Kirk. I'll have to read up. Thoughts on... I can't read that. You've got the letters the wrong way around. Let's have a look. If they can get away with it because they're a private company, that's wrong in itself. Ryan, I wasn't talking about getting away with it. What I was saying is that at the end of the day, when a private company hires somebody, they can hire who they like. And that's not to say that they would hire someone for possibly nefarious reasons. I'm saying that provided, and this is the thing, is that why would a private company not hire the best guy for the job when it's down to pure capitalism? Doesn't matter what colour, creed, gender, whatever. You hire the person that's going to do the best job and make you the most money if you're a private company, don't you? So you would hope that capitalism is colourblind and gender blind, etc. You would hope that football is absolutely the same. Who's gonna help me win? Do you know what I mean? So hopefully that would be the case there. Where do you expect Ipswich to finish this season? Bidhan, if you gave me top six now, stop the clock. So I would take it. There we go. Has anyone's opinion changed on Sheffield Wednesday's final league position after beating Cardiff? Not mine. Give me 8 to 10 games before I change my thoughts. But yes, if they're over that 12 points nice and quickly and pushing 1.4, 1.5 points per game, then they'll probably stay up if they can keep that up, won't they? Neuer on his prime or De Gea on his prime? Neuer, I think. Across the division. In terms of the weakness, is this season weaker than... it depends. It's just so hard, Robin. I'm trying not to... it's just such a difficult, broad question to answer. It depends on a lot of teams that could finish in the middle if they put it together and have competent seasons, i.e. your Bristol Cities, your Readings. None of them should be flaking out this season. So we will find out. Will Leeds win the league in the next 10 years? Yes, if QSI go in there and they keep Bielsa and have 10 years of constant progress and good recruitment and no injuries ever. What do you think about Forest's very defensive tactics? It worked for a lot of last season, but obviously it goes both ways. A strength taken to excess becomes a weakness, doesn't it? The strongest championship season ever was 2012. you could get relegated with 54 points and get in the playoffs with 69 points. Richard has just made my point for me perfectly there. So is that a strong season because it took 54 points to be and you were still relegated? Or is that a weak season because you can get in the playoffs with only 69 points? His argument is a sound one, that everything is difficult in that season. It's difficult to score points. So then we're talking about low total equals strong season, as opposed to, the season where Middlesbrough and Brighton were playing off on the last day of the season for promotion, and they needed like 93 points would have been second place. Whereas there could have been a load of whipping boys. It's a really difficult one to judge, isn't it? I tend to think, chatting about this with you guys and thinking about it, that I don't think you can have, or it's very rare, like that 2012-13 one, it's very rare that you can generalise the whole table as being tough or weak. I think you can argue last season, I think we'd all agree that the standard was high in the bottom 8 in terms of points. Obviously, they're in the bottom 8, so how can the standard be? But at the top, the standard was low because Leeds ran away with it 10 points clear, and Forest dropped out and Cardiff end up in there, without being playing that well, and Swansea come hard at the end of the season, So my definition would be based on points won by lower position teams. Yeah. So that's I think I'm coming to that view, Robin, having thinking about it out loud. And what Richard said about 2012-13, but it's completely open for debate. I would accept other people's views on this. We're not including the 5. Oh, don't we just hate undisclosed fees? They're so annoying, aren't they? Another Lamouchi out. That's 2 in the same chat today. Dear oh me. I don't know how Ryan Yates gets a game. Most average player ever. I can tell you exactly how he gets a game because he's very fit. He likes to tackle, and no doubt he follows all Lamouchi's instructions. That's not to say he's a sensationally talented footballing player, but he's in the team for a reason, isn't he? So Kenza Hall wants 50 grand a week. My God, 50 grand a week. I watched Ipswich yesterday. Looked good in patches. I think you met the playoffs. I hope so, Eli. I hope so. Your opinion on Morgan Gibbs-White? Very good start. I've heard a lot of hype. I'm yet to see him play for 90 minutes, so I'll plead the fifth until I do so. But hey, 1 game, 1 winning goal. Can't say fairer than that, can you? What do I think? 17 injuries. I'm not aware of Watford's 17 injuries. Well, that's terrible if they have got 17 injuries, or are they just keeping some players out of the team because they need to sell them, if that's what you're getting at. How could Forest improve? Forest could improve, I think, by taking a little bit the shackles off, but still keeping that stability and giving people like Freeman, Lolly, just a little tweak to Amiobi, Nuno da Costa, a little bit more freedom to play with. I think that's how they could improve. And by strengthening the squad up. And now you've got Graben and Lyle Taylor behind him. This new centre-half has come in as well. So I think they can improve. One more, I think. So we'll do this one last question. Get your shouts in. If you want to shout out, get your name in. I'll give you a shout out just before we go. Who do you think will win Championship Player of the Year? I think Buendia, provided he doesn't leave. Yes, you would imagine if Buendia stays in the Championship, which we think unlikely, that he should be best player here by miles. Whether he plays well for a whole season, probably wanting to leave, is a different matter, because you think the only way Buendia stays is if Norwich are turning down bids. And you could end up with unhappy, mercurial Argentinian player who doesn't want to be there, which means he might not play that well. So we will see. But Championship Player of the Season, hard one to tell. At the moment, it's James Collins and Lucas João, isn't it? So, but we've only had 90 minutes. As we see, Kai Havertz warming up here. Shout out for Katie there. Get your name in here if you want to shout out. I am going to leave and probably go and cool down because it's boiling in this room. Thank you kindly. It's leaving. Love your content. Come on, you yellow. Shout out to Let's Be Leaving. Shout out to Gaza there, Eli, everybody else in the chat. Ask Away is one of my favourite shows that we do. We will be back likely next Monday. Let me just smarten you guys up. the plan this week, we'll be doing Dearly Departed. I think I'm going to try it live at 1 p.m. Tomorrow. I think Shady might be going out tomorrow night, so I might be able to fit a watch along in. We'll see what happens there. We will be looking at championship teams in the EFL Cup during the morning on Wednesday. And then I'll be covering Ipswich on Wednesday night on the Blue Monday channel. On Thursday, Fantasy League, Dearly Departed preview, busy day there. EFL Cup review as well. Got 3 to do that day. And then championship preview like this live at 7 o'clock. So check that out. Then I should be talking to Gab Sutton of Football Lab. So will be a shout out for questions on that. Hopefully face-to-face on Friday. And then we'll do watch along Coventry v QPR. And then watch this space on Saturday. May be at a game. Fingers crossed. Leave it with me. Cheers to Alex. Cheers to Archie and Carl. All things Leeds and Alex. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Keep in touch during the week. Any news from your club, please tweet me. Even if I don't get straight back, I will read it. So keep me in the loop. I'm only able to do this if you do so. And you do a great job of that. Thank you, everybody, for watching. See you later in the week. Over and out.